Hello people of BookTube, Megan here, and time for another book review. Today, I'm going to be talking about Awaken by Meg Cabot, and this is the third and final book in the Abandoned trilogy. So, there's not much I can say without giving spoilers, but I will say I did enjoy this series as a whole. I thought it was cute, I thought it was fun, I thought it was a nice, quick, easy read, and I was thoroughly entertained by it. By the end of this book, I did have some issues, specifically with this book, but it could kind of branch out into the series as a whole. But these issues didn't bug me so much so that I didn't enjoy it. Yeah, I just took it as it was, as a fun little read. It was entertaining, cute, I liked it, and yeah, that's really all I can say without giving spoilers. So without further ado, I'm just gonna hop right into my spoilery bits. So if you have not finished this series yet, highly suggest you click away now and come back after you catch up. And I'm sorry if I am looking down at any point. I am looking at my notes. I made notes for this video, and yeah, I won't lie, I was a little thrown off when I started to read, and I'm like, did I miss something? There wasn't a novella that I missed, was there? Or just little jump between the events in the last book of them just blinking into the underworld and Pierce helping some of the spirits. I was just like, wait, what? What happened? So I was thrown off a little bit going into the book. But then it's like, okay, it's just a little jump forward, that's fine, that's fine. Alex at the beginning of the book, I just want to strangle. It's like, dude, stop being a jerk. I get you haven't had the best circumstances thrown your way. Things are confusing. You've had a lot thrown at you in the last, 24 hours. But rein in, the attitude. Dude. Thankfully, he did get better later on in the book, but still, it's just like, dude, just get over yourself. One thing that I did not expect to happen was John dying. That was the last thing I expected. Just like, wait, what? How is someone who is a death deity, a guardian to the underworld, die? So I thought that concept was very interesting. I just wish we could have gone into it a bit more. Or honestly, just, I feel, as I was reading, I thought that John's death would have been a much more interesting point in time to end the previous book, Underworld, versus, several chapters in to this book. I feel that would have been a very good cliffhanger, for one, and it would give Pierce and the others a bit more chance to kind of suffer with that grief. I just felt that whole thing was just resolved way too quickly and way too easily. And because of that, I felt like the urgency that was felt, I felt was over way too soon, if that makes sense. So I felt it was all resolved too quickly. Don't get me wrong, I didn't want John to stay dead, but I just felt like things, if they were drawn out a bit longer, would have been more interesting. And also just throwing in Thanatos, the Greek god of death, was an interesting go. I mean, hey, if Hades and Persephone obviously existed, the other Greek gods would likely exist too. And I found it interesting that the idea of Seth and his family having ties with Thanatos, but I felt like that was glossed over way too quickly. I expected or I'd hoped the thing with Thanatos to be a little more dramatic than it was. I feel that definitely could have and should have been expanded on a bit more, because that was just such an interesting idea, and it was just here and there too quick, for my opinion. And it's like, I understand if Meg Cabot didn't want this book to be huge. Most of Meg Cabot's books that I have read have been, I feel, on the shorter side of things, or at least they felt really short, which isn't a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. And I guess that's also why I think it would have been more interesting and work out better if John had died at the end of Underworld, like the first portion of what happened in Awaken happened in Underworld. Because then, there would be that little extra space or time that could have gone into, like, going into Thanatos a bit more. And also, kind of go into how Thanatos possessing Alex now is going to affect things. Like, when they drop that bit at the end, it's like, wait, what? Where did this come from? Why is he possessing Alex? And what does that mean for everything? I had so many questions, and I wanted to know, but we never got the answers. That could just be me being that kind of reader who just always wants more information. I love details. I love figuring out how things work in a world. Just makes that world seem all the more real to me and just more interesting. So I do wish we got that, but who knows, that might have just been me. John's intro to Pierce's parents was vastly entertaining. Just how hard he was trying to, like, win them over, and just how it was not flying, and his temper getting the better of him, and just, it was greatly entertaining. And I also felt so bad for Pierce's mom because she was not handling this well. And also, can I just say, I did enjoy the fact that Pierce's parents did find out the full story of everything that happened. Like, she isn't one of the heroines whose parents was just left totally in the dark for the entire time. Sure, they found out near the end and all that, but they knew. They knew what was going on, how things were, and how things were going to be going ongoing. Though, also on that note, two things on that note. First being, I love how when they drag the fury out of Pierce's grandmother, her, like, scolding Pierce over her and John's relationship, and John just being all like, I want to marry her, but she won't have me, yada yada yada, and she's just, like, instantly approving that he wants to marry her and make them, like, official and everything, and she's just like, finally, a young man with morals, yes! I don't know why, that just endlessly entertaining. I'm just entertained over little things. And also I'm backtracking, this is just something that popped up into my head. One thing I love about this series is just some little, like, one-liners and just dialogue. Like, Pierce telling Frank, like, no, you can't maim anybody. I wanted to make sure I got this right, so I'm just gonna go and look that up. I have the page marked. Where is it? Pierce going on about, no, we will not be killing anybody, and Frank being all disappointed. It's like, well, what if they try and kill us first? And then Pierce just being all like, okay, fine, you can maim them, but only in self-defense, and only a little bit, and then him just cheering up after that. I don't know why, just little things like that always entertain me. Especially that specific situation for whatever. Character A being all like, oh, come on, can't I just kill him a little bit? No. Then character B being all like, no, you can't do that. That's not gonna go well. That's no. Character A being all like, oh, damn it. Character B, okay, fine, you may maim them a little bit. Or, okay, you can kill them a little bit. I don't know why, I just find that type of exchange oddly hilarious. Both Patrick, Mr. Smith's partner, and Uncle Chris are so damn pure and sweet. They are pure, precious cinnamon rolls that must be protected at all costs. Nothing anyone can say can change my mind about that. And backtracking, I went a little bit off topic. Another thing that just kind of frustrated me a little bit is, while Pierce's parents were totally in the know by the end, Uncle Chris still being kept in the dark kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Like, sure, he might not be in the kind of mindset to handle it at this point, with everything that's happened, his history and everything, but it's like, tell the guy the truth. He deserves to know the truth. No, maybe not in the moment, because I can imagine him wanting to try and help, especially since he seems to adore his niece so much. But, at least they could have told him in like the afterward bits. Just, the dude deserves to know that his son is being possessed by a god of death. And that his niece is the queen of the underworld. You know, that's kind of stuff that's he, who is actively in these two's life, should know. Just, that whole thing rubbed me the wrong way. Everyone trying to shield him and basically treating him like a child. Which just, I hate when people treat me like I'm a kid, like I can't handle things, talk down to me, and I felt that they were treating Uncle Chris in the same way, and it rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like that. And speaking of Uncle Chris, I did greatly enjoy the fact that we finally got kind of the full story. It made me annoyed at Pierce's mom that she did nothing. Like, I can understand that her hands were tied to a point as well, but it's like, dude, what the hell? And it's like, especially knowing what kind of woman her mother was, and she's like, yeah, no, she can raise this child who has lost both of his parents, and just, she could have done something. And I just gotta say, it was also very satisfying to see Seth and his family get what was coming to them. I love it when karma comes to play, and just loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And also, I don't know if I just missed it in the previous books, but where the heck did the detail of if John is away from the island or the underworld for too long, he'll start to age and die? Where did that detail come from? I felt like that was a little out of the blue. Like, it makes sense. That is, the underworld is his job. It is the reason he is still alive. And it makes sense being away from the seat of his power, so to speak, would weaken him. So, you know, it makes sense, to me at least, but where does that detail come from? I felt so bad for Officer Santos at the end of the book trying to get answers and just knowing what everyone is saying is a big fat lie, but he can't prove it. Just, I felt for the guy. Guy's just trying to do his job. Seems to be a decent guy, decent officer. I felt sympathy for the dude. Once again, wish we definitely went more into the whole Thanatos situation. How he got involved with the Rector family, why he got involved with the Rector family. Just, how did that happen? How? How long? Just questions upon questions. Like, that whole idea just felt like such a throwaway, and it bugs me. Like I said, it doesn't bug me enough to dislike the book and the series as a whole, but it definitely is something I wish went into more, or even like a spin-off of. Just questions. Won't lie, I was kind of indifferent with the whole Chloe, Reed, and some of the newly dead coming out to help Pierce, John, and everyone with the Furies. You know, during the final battle, it's like, oh my god, they gave up their afterlife, they can't move on because of this now, yada yada yada. I'm like, when I was reading this, it's like, alright, that sucks, but I didn't feel like, oh my god, that's so horrible, oh my god. Like, it's like, oh, well, sucks, but whatever. Were like my feelings. I just feel because we saw so very, very little of them, I didn't care too much about them. I feel I could have cared about them if they were introduced sooner. But because they were just introduced into this book, and it's a short book, and for most of the book, they weren't even in the book, so it's just like, why should I care? Like, it's great they came out to help. It's great that the underworld has more help with, like, processing the souls and all that, but just, I didn't find myself caring about them enough to, like, feel one way or the other. Like, they were just kind of there. Which, shame, because I felt more could have been done with them to make the story more interesting or fuller. But, whatever. It is what it is. They just felt kind of like throwaway characters. A way to kind of get some exposition or some plot or to fill in a gap. Instead of, like, full-flesh characters. I don't know where I'm going with this, but just, I felt more could have been done with them. funny enough, while I would have liked to get more on the fates and like who they are, what they are, how they work, I kind of like how we don't know much about them. Kind of adds that little air of mystery, and in a way also leaves them open for interpretation by the reader. It can be anywhere from, oh, anyone can be a fate. Anyone who can make a difference can be a fate. You can make the difference in someone's life, in some random stranger's life, just based on one little choice that you make. Or the fates are these spiritual beings that pop in to help from time to time. Like, my interpretation was kind of somewhere in between. Like, yes, they are someone who can make a difference, but also some form of higher being, just based on like the aura some of these characters gave as Pierce is describing them, like the look in their eye, whatever, and how just calm they were. Like the little girl when there's police officers like being about, the guy, construction worker with a chainsaw, being so calm as Pierce is being chased down by these police officers. Just the two of them felt a little too calm to be just normal run-of-the-mill people making a choice. So it's where I feel it's like also more of like a higher being thing on top of someone who wants to make a difference, if that makes sense. So I enjoyed that. That was a little more open and vague and mysterious, which I feel is very strange considering just earlier in this video saying like I like knowing the details, I like knowing how things work, yada yada yada. Here I am, I feel like saying something almost completely opposite. Honestly, I don't feel there's too much more I could go into. Like I said earlier in the video, I did enjoy this book, I enjoyed this series. Do I wish we could have gotten some things a little more fleshed out in this book? Hell yes. But was meant to be. Sucks, but whatever. It didn't take away from what I enjoyed about the book, and that's all that matters in my opinion. I still enjoyed this series. I will very likely be rereading it in the future at some point. All in all, that's a win for me. So yeah, for anyone who is still watching, what do you think? Did you enjoy this series? Did you not? Are you somewhere in between? Do you wish it was a little more fleshed out like me, or did you think it was fine the way it is? Were there things that I did not talk about that you want to talk about? Let me know. Let's get a discussion going. And yeah, that is it for this video, and I hope to see you guys next time.